What's up everyone, I'm Toast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some very fun battles in the Mountain Cup, running Shadow Mawile in the lead and then Archen and Archeops in the back. My thinking was that Escavalier and Diggersby were the top 2 ranked Pokemon on PvPoke for this meta, and a few content creators had already paired them with a safe swap like Froslass and labeling it as the team to beat, and technically Archen beats all 3 of those Pokemon in the one shield scenario, so pairing it with its evolution that has basically the same stats and moves, it could be a really fun anti-meta team. I'm running Shadow Mawile in the lead specifically for like Lucario, and then just much safer matchups up against Ice types because often Ice types could double shield and then fully farm down. I got off to a really strong start with this team, but unfortunately that run didn't last too long. But with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. What's the craziest evolution themed team you've ran in the Go Battle League? So what I mean is 2 Pokemon that are in the same evolution family like Archen and Archeops. Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle, we lead into a Diggersby, not a very good lead, gonna instantly swap into my Archen, and I am running Crunch on the safe swap here. I wasn't necessarily sure how many Ice types would swap into me. If it was Froslass, then Crunch still hits for super effective damage, but if they come in with something like this Ferrothorn here, they typically resist every charge move, but because I'm running Crunch, I can now hit for nice neutral damage, and the opponent here lost track of my energy, ends up shielding a Dragon Claw bait, which is massive for me, because this guarantees I can flip switch advantage in any even shield scenario. I'm going to farm all the way up to the CMP tie, go for a Dragon Claw, and even resist it. That's now enough to take them out. Here they come in with Lucario, I'm not fast enough to react, and I end up going down with a Dragon Claw loaded, which is unfortunate, but that damage isn't really going to mean an awful lot in this matchup. They're going to swap back into Diggersby, I come in with my Archeops, and I'm going to go straight for the Dragon Claw, and here unfortunately Dragon Claw is non-stab, it doesn't do that much damage. Diggersby is a very bulky Pokemon, but we do resist all the moves coming from Diggersby, but unfortunately the Earthquake, even though it's resisted, is going to do a lot of damage up against us. I go for the Dragon Claw, it barely doesn't take them out, and you can see now that Earthquake nearly one-shots us, but luckily for me it doesn't. I mean, to be honest, it didn't really matter from that range, as I'm able to Fire Fang, farm down the Lucario, and take that game. Into the next battle, we see Galarian Stunfisk, and this is honestly a Pokemon I wasn't really expecting to see. Obviously very, very strong in the Open Great League, but in the Mountain Cup it's just not ranked that high, although who am I to talk? I'm literally running Archen and Archeops, so I'm not going to judge this opponent for running a typical meta Pokemon in the Mountain Cup. And my opponent's actually going to come in with Registeel. What? Are they running like a triple steel tank team or something? I'm very confused. I'm like, surely there's no way. So I will let the Mawile go down. Not really sure what they've got in the back. Hoping I can take them on with 2 flying rock boys in the back. But unfortunately, it's a Froslass with 2 shields. This is going to be incredibly difficult to take on. I go for the Dragon Claw here, and I realize I have to swap out. Otherwise, they could just shield again and farm me down, and they will be able to take me out with 2 avalanches here. But because I swap out, I'm able to get to the Dragon Claw on my Archeops on the CMP tie, and this is amazing. They don't overfarm at all. They try to get rid of me as soon as possible. Avalanche does take me out, but that allows me to get to another Dragon Claw on my Archen, and this is now enough damage to take out the Froslass, and I'm now going to be able to outpace the Reggie to a Crunch just to guarantee the KO here up against the Steel type, and I'm able to take that game. So incredibly close battle there, but opponent running a very weird team, triple weak to fire there, so kind of worked in my favor. Into the next game, we see another Diggersby in the lead. This time they do eventually swap out into Froslass. They are very slow on the swap, so I'm going to go for a Crunch on the CMP tie with the Avalanche here, and we do grab a shield, and as well my opponent did throw straight away, so they go for an Avalanche. I know that I can get both shields down from this Froslass nice and early, so that's what I'm going to go for, and my opponent actually just lets it go through. Very interesting play here. I expected the Diggersby to go for a full farm down, so I actually commit to the Crunch. They don't do that. Instead, they do throw a Fire Punch to take me out, which is absolutely fine with me. I don't mind that. And now I'm going to shield here, expecting an Earthquake. It is an Earthquake this time. And now they swap into Escavalier. I'm able to swap out in time where 6 Fire Fangs takes them out before they get off the charge move, which is absolutely vital. I can now go for a Power Punch. This is just going to do some nice chip damage, will put them into range where a few wing attacks and a Dragon Claw will be enough to take them out here. So I'm going to go for the Dragon Claw here. I'm at the back-to-back, but they're not quite at an Earthquake yet. So I'm going to overfarm here just to guarantee that after one more wing attack, this Dragon Claw does take out the Diggersby, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, another Galarian Stunfisk in the lead. I'm like, what's going on here? My opponent swaps into Whiscash, and this is the matchup that I said in my previous video. I absolutely hate a flying type into Whiscash. It is so difficult to call. I'm going to shield here. And my opponent does actually go for the Blizzard, so that is really good for me. I'm now going to be able to grab both shields here if they want to land another Blizzard. So I go for the Dragon Claw, one fast move before they get to the Blizzard. So now I can CMP tie, and this will grab the final shield from the opponent. And at this point, I can't really let myself go down shields because Galarian Stunfisk with energy and 0 shields in play is absolutely going to decimate this team. So going to come in with my Archen here, farm them down. They get to a Rock Slide, and I'm going to be looking to try and catch the next Rock Slide onto my Mawile here. So I go for the Crunch, one move before they get to a Rock Slide, swap out. I even get the debuff and a Fire Fang through, which is massive. Rock Slide goes through. They come in with a Marsh Stomp, and this is kind of difficult here. Gonna go for the CMP tie, which we win with a Power Up Punch. The opponent's going to obviously go for the charge move here as they're locked in, but they undercharge it. They get a full farm down, and unfortunately, I'm only at a Dragon Claw, not at the Crunch just yet. So Dragon Claw doesn't do enough damage to take out the Marsh Stomp, and they're going to be able to take me out with a Surf and take that game. So very nice undercharge there to get the win for my opponent. GG's. Into next battle, we see a Marsh Stomp in the lead, and yeah, we just lost to a Marsh Stomp, so hopefully we can get some redemption here. Gonna swap into my Archen, go for a Dragon Claw before they throw, which is really nice for me because I was a turn behind. But now they're gonna go for a Mud Bomb, and I'm not really sure if they're actually running Surf. Maybe they're running Return. That might be viable in this meta. Not really sure. I go for a Crunch, get the debuff. That's very nice here. We should live a Sky Attack, but we barely live it. And that's kind of embarrassing considering we do resist it. I'm only able to get to a Dragon Claw. Not going to risk the new mechanic there. So unfortunately that doesn't take them out, but it puts them into farm down range for my Archeops, which is really nice here. And my opponent is going to come back in with the Marsh Stomp. They're going to throw straight away, and because I get the wing attack through, I think I might be able to shield and fully farm them down, and that's exactly what I'm able to do. That's massive. The opponent comes in with my Cargo. I'm at 100 energy, so I throw straight away. Going to go for 2 more wing attacks, go for another Ancient Power, and then I will try to catch the move onto my Mawile. My opponent lets the move go through, which is huge for me. They're now going to have to throw a charge move here, as I will be able to Fire Fang, farm them down. They go for the Overheat, and it allows me to just wing attack, farm down the Macargo, and I take that game. So I go 4-1 in my first set. Things are looking really positive. Into the next battle here, we lead into Froslass. My opponent swaps out into another Ice type, and I was just like, no, why did I swap out there? You know, like when you just feel like you have to react really quickly and you swap out. And yeah, unfortunately I swapped into the Walrein, which technically we do win the one shield scenario, and we do grab both shields here, so that's great. But I think it would have been better for me to stay in with my Mawile. Now I'm going to come back in with the Mawile here, going to call that they're going straight for the Earthquake, and they do go for it. And now I should be able to fully Fire Fang, farm them down. They're only going to get to an Icicle Spear, so I can just let this go through. Well, I mean, I have no shields anyway, so I have to let it go through, but we do let it go through there. And now I'm going to come in with my Archeops, and I'm over farming. My opponent catches the Dragon Claw. Amazing catch there, and unfortunately that means I'm going to have to throw another charge move into the Froslass. You see, if I just went for an Ancient Power there, or didn't throw straight away, then that would be enough damage to take out the Froslass. But because of that catch, they basically forced me to throw more energy than I wanted. I go for the CMP tie on the Play Rough, but unfortunately this is just nowhere near enough damage to KO the Diggersby. But if we did manage to get off one more Dragon Claw, we might have been able to win that game, but very well played by the opponent there. Into the next game, we see a Shadow Sudowoodo in the lead. Gonna swap out into my Archen here, and this is a bit tricky here. We're gonna go for a Crunch. This will do some nice damage though. Even though it's non-stab, these Pokemon have very high attack stats. The opponent does shield it up, unfortunately, but I get to a Dragon Claw. Hopefully grab a second shield. No, they just let it go through. That's also perfectly fine here. I'm going to come back in with my Shadow Mawile and call that they're not going for an Earthquake. I think that's my only real play here, and they do just go for a Rock Slide, which is really nice. Now I'm going to shield this up and then probably swap into my Archeops straight away to farm them down, but they swap into Shadow Shiny Lapras, and yeah, I go for the Ancient Power, but they let it go through and it takes out the Shadow Lapras. That was insane damage. Ancient Power isn't even that good of a move, and they come in with an Alolan Sandslash. No way, we might actually have a chance here. They let the Dragon Claw go through, gonna go straight for that Power Punch, gonna be double super effective. They're obviously gonna shield, but it's gonna ramp up my Fire Fang damage, and they also make a mistake of throwing their energy here instead of going for a Shadow Claw, and now I'm able to Fire Fang, farm down the Sudowoodo, and take that game. So even though the opponent had a triple anti-flying team, I just won with 2 flying types. That was insane. Into the next game here, I don't even remember what they had in the lead. I think it was Froslass, but they say swap into Marshtomp, and this is really problematic for my team. Honestly, if I say swap and I'm met with a Marshtomp, that's absolutely fine. We've got the energy advantage, but at an energy disadvantage, there's just no way I'm flipping this game here. So I'm actually going to go for the Crunch instead, because I know they're going to shield, but hopefully I can at least get a defense drop here, and my opponent does shield and we do get the defense drop, and that's really big here. Surf does of course take me out very comfortably, but I'm going to come in with my Mawile here. We should be able to get to the Power Punch just at the right time. I'm going to throw on the CMP tie, and I'm hoping with the defense debuff this is enough damage to take them out, but it's not, and that's just so painful there. Mud Bomb does take me out. I come in with the Archeops, and my opponent is going to be coming in with another Lapras. This time it's not Shadow, so this Ancient Power is just not going to be enough damage to take out the Lapras. And they're already at a Surf, and this Surf will easily take me out, and I do lose that game. So GG's to that opponent. Unfortunately, another team comp that was a bit difficult to take on. Into the next game, we see Walrein in the lead, gonna stay in, of course. It's quite a comfortable matchup here. If they do build up to the Earthquake, which they have done here, then we're just going to respect the damage, and they do go straight for the Earthquake. They now swap there. I wasn't expecting a swap, and they swap into a Camerupt. So I'm going to swap into my Archen here, and one of the really cool things here is that because Incinerate is very slow, and because their charge moves are quite high energy, I'm actually going to be able to fully wing attack, farm down this Camel, and I've got 100 energy. Gonna wait to see what comes in. They come in with Diggersby, so I'm gonna go for the Dragon Claw here. Dragon Claw goes unshielded. I'm now gonna overfarm, go for a Crunch this time around. Crunch will do some more damage up against the Diggersby. Unfortunately, they do shield it, and they're out of charge move, so I do throw the Dragon Claw straight away. So unfortunately, they did shield the higher damage charge move there and let the weaker one go through, but they go for an Earthquake here. I think they could have just gone for a Fire Punch there, but that's really good for me. And I'm now going to go for the CMP tie here on the Earthquake number 2. Dragon Claw once again barely doesn't take out the Diggersby. Oh my gosh, that's so painful. Earthquake does big damage. I expect them to swap out straight away, so I also swap into my Mawile, go for the Power Punch, but they don't shield it. And now, even if this is an Earthquake, I think we just win this game here. Earthquake takes me out, but I'm able to wing attack, farm them down, and then wing attack, farm down the Diggersby, and take that game. So very fortunate that my opponent sort of misplayed there in the end game. Into the next game, we see a Hippowdon. Going to see what fast move it is. It's Fire Fang, so I have to swap out, but they respond with Diggersby, and this is actually a matchup that I can of course flip. We go for a Crunch here, we get the defense drop, and now I go for a Dragon Claw here, and Dragon Claw does some big damage, but unfortunately not quite enough damage. And here we're going to let the move go through. It's an Earthquake, and unfortunately it's a simultaneous KO, and now it's just a guessing game. Are they going to come in with the lead or something else? They come in with Froslass. Unfortunately, we're going to lose there. If I'd have come in with the Mawile, we could have had the right alignment, but unfortunately, it was a coin flip and we lost there. But into the next game here, we see an Empoleon in the lead. This is a Pokemon we do not want to see at all, really, but at least if we see it in the lead, we have some play with our Shadow Mawile. I'm going to shield up this charge move here, and they do, of course, go for a Hydro Cannon. They swap now into a Dugong, and yeah, this team is already looking really awful for me. These both Archen and Archeops have absolutely no play against this team so far. I'm going to have to let the Mawile go down here. Can't afford to double shield. So I come in with my Archen. Going to go for the Crunch. Dragon Claw probably won't be enough damage to take them out here. And Crunch is enough to take them out. But they've got Froslass, and yeah, unfortunately, 2 shielded Froslass gonna rip through me there. So unfortunately, there are quite a lot of teams like that where I just had literally no play at all with my Archen and Archeops. Honestly, like, Escavalier was the top ranked Pokemon on PvPoke. I saw it like 4 times in total in like literally 6 sets, so yeah, that was kind of disappointing because obviously all 3 of my Pokemon do beat Escavalier. But into this game anyway, we are now in another matchup up against Diggersby. They go for the Earthquake. This time we do tank it a little bit more comfortably. I'm going to go for the Dragon Claw here and hopefully at least grab a shield or something. And we do grab a shield. The opponent's going to go for the farm down, allowing me to get to another Dragon Claw. And this time we've done a lot more wing attack damage and the Dragon Claw takes them out. And we flip switch advantage and have a shield advantage, which is massive. I come back in with Mawile. They catch on the Skarmory. That's absolutely fine here. Gonna get off a few more Fire Fangs and then swap into my Archeops here and just go for a full farm down. Shield once, get the farm down, and I will be able to make it to 2 Ancient Powers against this Froslass. And my opponent recognizing that, and they do concede the match. So GG's to that opponent, and into the final battle of this video, we see a Shadow Lapras in the lead. And they're running Water Gun as well, which is a lot more difficult because Water Gun is neutral damage up against Shadow Mawile instead of the Ice Shards, which are resisted. So I'm going to have to shield this Surf here, even though I don't really want to. The opponent's going to swap into a Lucario. I'm going to stay in initially and then preserve the Mawile for the end game and come in with my Archeops, tank the Power Up Punch, and then fully wing attack farm them down, hoping I can at least make it to a charge move up against the Lapras, which I expect to come back in. But no, it's actually an Escavalier, and we do at least make it to a Dragon Claw. And Dragon Claw is basically just going to put them into range where I can Fire Fang farm them down. But my Mawile is actually very low, so I'm going to come in with my Archen instead, and then I'm just going to overfarm quite drastically here. They go for a Drill Run. Going to keep on overfarming, back to back Dragon Claws, swap into Mawile, and make it to a Power Punch as well. And this should hopefully put the Lapras into range where a Dragon Claw will be enough to take them out. I might even make it to a Crunch here, but I'm not sure I survived the Water Guns. So I go straight for the Dragon Claw, hoping this is enough damage to take them out, but it's not. And you can see that I would have made it to the Crunch if I committed to the Crunch, and unfortunately I do lose that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. Unfortunately, didn't really see that team that I was expecting to face with Diggersby, Escavalier and Froslass too often. Honestly, it was the Escavalier that I really didn't see at all. Kind of confused about that, but yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes. But yeah, got off to a very strong start, but unfortunately after that I think I went negative in every single set afterwards. So yeah, not the best day for me, but still some very entertaining battles. I still had a lot of fun, and I hope you guys did enjoy watching it. And if you did, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And with that being said, let's get into the shoutouts from my previous video. So firstly, we got your Voltorb Pokemon who says Samurott, Fury Cutter charges quickly and has Mega Horn or Blizzard for grass types. And honestly, yeah, I completely agree. This is a very underrated starter. Next, we got Dan Mitchell who says XL Blastoise in the Ultra League. I've gone positive on every single set I've played since running it, gained over 300 elos, so that is quite a climb. And honestly, Blastoise is a very bulky starter Pokemon, and once again having access to Hydro Cannon, one of the best charge moves in the game, but also coverage in Ice Beam makes it very strong. And finally, we got JL who says, at least for Go, Sceptile. Leaf Blade is crazy spam and damage, and the Earthquake is a surprise for big damage. And honestly, I really enjoy using Sceptile. The only thing holding it back is it doesn't have any coverage for flying types, similar to Meganium, but it's not as bulky, so it can't really tank hits. And whilst Leaf Blade is a very good move, unfortunately in the flying dominant meta, it just doesn't have an awful lot of play. So with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.